All right, here we go. It's 8:30 now. So thank you everybody for being on. We have 8 out of 51. I always think that's funny how many people watch these later. So tonight is hmm, what 2020 is a big year. And you can hear me. Is that correct, Steve? Just nod if you can. Can you hear me? Yes. I'm not hearing you. So
Here we go. Can you hear me now?
oh yeah, perfect. Thank you. Making sure. All
Beautiful.
right, good, good,
Yeah.
good. Awesome. So 2020 is a huge year. For me, one of the biggest things to be aware of. I mean, every time we enter a new decade, it's a really big deal. So, having been sharing a version of this victory goals achievement material, every year is like, well, it's bigger, it's more important, the quantum shifts are bigger, all that kind of stuff. So, I've done this each year in about January, and so well, this Sunday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time, we have our victory goals achievement event from 8:30 Eastern for a couple hours, and it's $77 pre-registered. If you get a group of 10 or more, it's 55 per person. And tonight is an orientation on getting prepared. So when somebody registers, they get some recordings. One is an entire Victor Goals Achievement class that was recorded. And another piece of it is the outcome mapping Zoom. So I'm inviting all of you to, when you're registered, if you're going to get registered, do it as soon as you can and study that material. So before we go any further, and for those, we had 10 of us on now, I'm going to introduce to all of you Steve Penalosa, who just arrived today. He arrived from Australia through his native nation, Colombia. And Steve, Steve is going to be helping with our event support, tour support, Spanish translation, which is really cool of our stuff. So welcome and give us a chat.
Well, thank you everyone for having me here. Thanks, Bob, for having me here. I'm very excited. This has been one of my heart desires, and yeah, I'm ready to join the team and do some translations. That's really important. I have a lot of people asking me already for these technologies to be in Spanish. Yes, we'll doing it. I'm supporting you in any way, and I'm here to serve. So
Cool.
I'm very excited and happy.
Welcome. And now say all that in Spanish.
A todo el mundo, muchas gracias por recibirme en este momento. Vamos a estar trabajando con Bob, ayudándole en los tours y también haciendo unas traducciones en español de todas las tecnologías y vamos, vamos, somos la victoria en la luz.
Awesome. And I don't really have a clue of anything he just said. He could have said, it's raining outside. No, it's snowing. No, whatever. So we went to a Mexican restaurant today, and he and the person that was the owner of the Mexican restaurant had a great conversation. I'm like, wow. And it was awesome. I love it. Welcome. And I'm going to let you can unmute and unvideo at this point, and we'll rock and roll. So everyone, please vote Steve's victory. He's done all for you. He's already on the page. We've had miracles happen today. It's really, really exciting. So, all right. So getting ready for Sunday is, and if you'll I guess you're on video. So anyway, I just see a picture of Steve, which is great. He's not moving. So I love it. Getting ready for Sunday. Prepare, listen to the material, the audio recording and the video recording. Once you register, especially outcome mapping is going to be important. So every year I give this, I address the same thing. So I'm letting you know how to prepare for this. If possible, gather those people in your community who, are registered, obviously in your family or whatever, get in the same room and get prepared. And if you can imagine setting the room up where you can all watch the live version Zoom of the all for you preparation, the class, and then imagine completing this, because it'll be highly charged, it'll be all new, it'll be all these tools, specificity, all kinds of stuff. And then what you'll be doing is creating a treasure map from what we've talked about. And here's another piece. I'll just share this with you. And I love goal setting. So please know I say yes to goal setting. The trick about goal setting is when I set a goal, what I'm saying is I'm moving toward that location. So I'm signaling to my world that literally I don't have that thing. So for me, let's add a step, which is what victory goals achievement is to add the outcome of or having already attained our set goal. So imagine creating, once you're done with this, and we're going to talk about, all the areas to be involved in, what to set up, how to thrive, how to set a goal that's not just doable, reasonable, and possible, how to set a goal literally that's beyond rational, and yet it's what your heart says. It's beyond rational, and yet it's what your heart says. That means we're going to have to engage the invisible side of life. We're going to have to engage grace. We're going to have to engage miracles. And if you can just feel, just for a second, what I'm speaking about, what I'm talking about is, I mean, for me, this is just live for me. I know, I'd rather find another way to say that. My great God self, my anointed self, my I am that I am, all these different names, whatever name you give it, yes, is ready to press down and overflow my goodness, if I will. In fact, when Steve got here today, I do what I do, and I asked him a question about something being honored or whatever, and his first answer, and Steve, forgive me ahead of time, but it's real common for all of us, me too. So I said, are you whatever? Do you give yourself permission to have this, whatever it was? And he goes, yes. And his head said no. And so I played that back to him. And then, I asked him again, and he did another breakaway type thing. And then finally, the third time, I was like, yep, I better do this. And it was yes. So much of what I'm doing is creating a system, sharing a system, and creating an exchange of energy where we give ourselves permission to already be our heart's desire. So now we take that concept, I am already what I desire to be. And then in goal setting, I set a goal, quote unquote, listen carefully, to be something, which says that I am not that thing. So in our treasure map, these visual representation is going to be a visual and with words, etc., something we can have an eye picture on constantly. Put it like what I recommend you do is if you have a door right inside of your bathroom when you're sitting down, you can put it right there somewhere where it's, your map is private. I recommend you keep it as private as possible so nobody else can even touch it energetically. And you give yourself permission to agree with your treasure map. So the treasure map is not going to be what your goals are. Your treasure map, and just imagine pulling pictures out of magazines and from online, printing some up, gathering word expressions. It's going to be the celebration of already having that thing. So again, my ideal is to gather some of your people. You can do it all by yourself. It's great. And if you've got 2 or 3, 4 people, let's say everybody brings 10 old magazines, and then you find what you'd like, you pass it around. And I have seen so many amazing, I've done this, wow. I mean, I'm choosing how many years I've done it, decades I've done it, with large groups of people. Everybody brings magazines. Eventually, people walk in with 50 pounds of magazines. Let's say we've got 50 people in class, so you can imagine how many magazines that is. Once we get to the point of putting out the poster board, the glue sticks, and the scissors, and people they start cutting out all their images or pictures or worded expressions, and then they're going to paste it. Frequently, what I'll recommend is you do the bagua or feng shui in the layout. So that can help. It's not required. It's just really fun to do it that way, especially with those of us that have seen how feng shui works. So imagine, shopping. And then when you get done with all your 50 or 10 or 5 or whatever is magazines, you put them in a pile, meaning you're done. And everybody starts shopping for visuals and worded expressions and ideas that, it's as if the picture becomes a perfect manifestation with a photo, whatever it is in the magazine. You get to realize that billions and billions and billions of dollars go into creating images and statements for us to buy something or to have something or to do something. Well, all we're going to do is add this dream board, this treasure map, as a pictorial celebration of our victorious, most amazing quantum leap, best ever thriving 2020 of what we've already attained. So I'll give an example of how this works. When I was down in Florida back in the 80s at Center for Effective Living. And a woman that worked at Center for Effective Living took the class, and I'm remembering parts of this, but we all took a look at and saw each other's treasure maps that were in the class. And about a week later, she came and she said, "Bob, I'd like to, show you my treasure map and let you know what's happened." And I was like, I wasn't sure if it was good or bad. I mean, I didn't know. And so she showed me a photo that she had on her treasure map. And I'm choosing to have you get a sense that the idea of what we're doing and outcome mapping and treasure mapping and imagining from our wish fulfilled completely changes the dynamic of the unfolding of perfection in our life. It completely changes the delivery system. We start to work with grace versus work with what we believe and how we have to do it. So on her treasure map, she shows me a picture of a man and a woman. I think the man was on the, as you looked at it, they were both looking out over the water. So they're both looking out over the water, and the picture was from behind both of them. And maybe they're sitting on a dock, but it was kind of close up, but you could see that there's water. And of course, I'm in Florida, so that picture was really appropriate for the area. And there was the man and woman, and there was this beautiful picture of two people in love gazing out over the same thing in a magazine. And then she said, "First, I'm going to tell you, Bob, that so far, everything, the highest, the best thing I put on everything on my whole treasure map, every single area has already happened in 1 week. It's already, and I believe it's because we're working with how things work, really. And yet, thank God." So she said, everything's happened. And then she said, and a friend of ours, without telling us, took a photo, and she was not, when she took the class a week before, the Victor Goals Achievement, she was not in a relationship. She didn't have any options. She didn't know of anybody. She found her partner, by the way, and she was sitting with her partner, and someone took a photograph of her. This is long before iPhones. This is back in the 1800s, what I like to say, and gave her a picture of the photo. It was almost verbatim, identically the same picture. Her brown long hair and his persona in the magazine cutout that she had on her treasure map vision board was almost identical to the photograph that somebody took. Now, I mean, yes, that's a miracle. That's amazing, all that. Well, it's also law. It's also, again, what you put your attention upon, that you become. Yes, and that's scripture, not religion. I don't use it that way. I use it as quantum physics. And there's a statement in scripture that says, when you pray, I'm going to say, when you ask, when you call, when you imagine, when you demand, when you plug in and turn on, whatever, when you pray, ask, it says, which means, request, call, acquire what you desire. When you pray, ask, believing ye receive, and ye receive. And the idea of believing ye receive, I used to think was a mental attitude of, I got to really believe this. And I now know the word believe means to be alive in. So imagine the treasure map that you're now making from all the inspiration of our event together, while you're now designing what you have, quote unquote, already received for 2020 and creating a celebration board about it. We're shifting from, ask when you pray, ask, believing you receive, and you receive. Well, this board is being alive in a visual representation of already having the goals that you've set. It's like seeing and being the end from the beginning and imagining from here. So what I'm requesting all of you do is, when you do your treasure map, when you get prepared, start gathering. And here's a couple of things on magazines. Magazines, one of the things you can do on magazines is doctors' offices frequently have the ones that they're done with. Magazine racks, the people that sell magazines, they are only good for that month usually. And then this is what used to happen anyway. They would just tear off the masthead and they would turn that in and get, credit for it. And they would throw away the magazine so they didn't have to ship it back. It would be recycled. And we used to get lots and lots and lots of them that way. It was really a great way to go. So whatever, and you'll be surprised at the types of magazines that'll have great images and great worded expressions and great symbols that it's as if it'll wake you up to what your thriving life is, in my experience. So, like we all walk around in our known reality. Oh yeah, well, if I could have a little more of this. But once we start to dream, it's imperative to go technicolor using the 16 senses. That's something I'll talk about during Sunday, during the event. And, who, what, when, where, why, what, where, shape, or form, seeing what, smelling what, hearing what, tasting what, motion, direction, tactility, pressure. We're going to go not just a little bit of change in senses, we're going to activate a whole bunch. So the more we can put on our dream board or treasure map, a completely miraculous, blessed experience of life. That's what this is about. This is the preparing the soil for what's happening. So Sunday, 8:30 p.m., get registered ahead of time, listen to this material. There's an outcome mapping video on that we did on Zoom. It's new, it's current. We're gifting you that. And we're also gifting you, or part of the tuition really. We're giving you an entire Victory Goals achievement to prepare you, because I'm going to go deeper. And even if I didn't go deeper, just doing it again will take you deeper. So a couple things to be prepared for. Either, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a new and different result, Einstein. I'm suggesting me too, I'm doing exactly the same thing in my life. In fact, even now as I say it to you, I'm doing it even more because I'm saying it. So I'm inviting you from this very moment to do everything differently, including brushing your teeth, where you sleep in the bed, the direction you sit, the clothes you wear, the people you talk to. I'm not saying anything's wrong. I'm just saying open up boundaries. Do everything differently. Imagine it's like 500 miracles have happened for you already. They're already sitting in your driveway. They're already, in your life. They're already supporting you in your mission. They're already, your family's already got 250,000. I'm making this up, but still, they have all the miracles that you were even afraid to ask for. You got them all. That's the way to play this game. That's where the quantum expansion is for 2020. So just in simple numerology, not weird stuff, just numbers have frequency. So 2020, 2 is partnership. 0 is God. So if you look at 2020, it's partnership with God, 0, 2, 0, igniting partnership with God. And the whole thing adds up to a master number of 22, which is a master builder through partnership and partnership. So imagine all your partnerships are complementary and harmonious and synergistic, and you are one of the leads to synergy in your life. So if that is true energetically about the potential of what the year 2020 is, and even like 2020 vision, there's a lot to this. So imagine you have made an agreement to thrive already. The difference is not setting a goal to thrive. You've made an agreement to already be thriving. Now, think about this for a minute. You can, I can, all of us can, from this moment forward, walk new, already thriving. And as we think in our heart, so are we. You get that as we think. So imagine not the getting. This is so important. Not the getting. Scripture. I have ways you know not of, and they're beyond finding out. Scripture paraphrased, it says, you identify the destiny. I'm going to say the outcome. God says, I'll figure out the steps. And so what we're doing is, you can outcome map it first and then treasure map it. And the point is to go, wow, I could either go by what I think is doable, reasonable, and possible, and then improve some, or I could literally allow grace, love, the universe, whatever the words are for you, blessings, miracles, good, plenty, pressed down and overflowing, into my world, my life, my family, my friends, my loved ones, my community, my nation, my world, my plant life, my, you know, everything you can possibly imagine is up for our agreement. And your treasure map or dream board is all about creating visual agreement or celebration for already having and doing and being those things. That's what this is all about. So, my friends, I love this class, number one. I love doing it because it gets me into what I'm talking about right now. It gets me, every time I'm speaking to any kind of class, and especially this particular one, I'm always reaching past where I was before, 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 and getting even just little snippets of, you know, a picture, an image, a person, a place, a feeling, my whatever. And the whole idea, that's what this couple hours ahead of time is all about, is to engage us in I'm going to say our energy of miracles, engage us in the possibility of grace. You know, I can do all things through Christ or my anointed self who strengthens me. All things are possible with God. All things are possible with God. That's real. And I mean, if we go back 200 years to what was possible then, and we go to where we are now, and we see how much we've changed, what else is possible, look at all that. That was somebody stepping through the veil and creating something according to what their heart called into existence versus going by what seemed to be reasonable and possible. So if you can all remember, 3-1, reconnect, remember, you are created in the image and likeness of your creator, no matter how you say it. And every quality of your divine self is, every strength, quality, power, creative potential, co-creative nature is in you right now, awaiting agreement and creating a visual representation of having your miracles already land, what you can see of them, not how you got them. That's really important. That's a lot of what I'm going to be talking about Sunday is, no, the how is not up to us. Scripture again, I have ways. And I always go, Bob, for me, ye know not of, Bob, okay, and they're beyond finding out. Wow. You identify the destiny. God's got the steps handled. That's the angelic realm or whatever, force the elements, powers of nature. Everything in the seen world is that built from that which is unseen, or that everything in the visible world is built by that which is invisible, which means inner visible. So gear up and just really call in the perfect visuals, the perfect magazines, the perfect statements, and even start collecting them now. Start, you know, and for me, instead of just, I'm one of these that I like to just tear the page off that's there. I look at both sides going, oh, I better make sure what's there. And come prepared for the designing of your highest choices already fulfilled beyond what you thought was reasonable and possible. So that's what this is all about. It's a powerful time to be together. I do invite you. I mean, you know, yeah, everybody get registered and all that stuff. If you have 10 or more people, again, it's $55 per person. And gather your team, again, because as you do this, like for families or for teams or for those of you in organizations or who have networks or whatever else, and you can even do this through a Zoom. You can show each other what you're putting up. I mean, there's all kinds of ways to do it. Get together, excuse me, with like-minded, like-spirited people who vote your victory. Well, that's what a lot of this is about. And you're voting their victory, where you're amplifying your good. Cool. And Mariana Masingo, I just saw, and hi from her. And she was at the Center for Effective Living for those classes way back then. So I'll open this up. If you have questions, mic yourself and I'll answer them. And you can video yourself. That's great. You can just hook yourself up. Anybody? Questions, comments? Questions and comments? I can do it this way. You can click on your thing if you've got that in your computer. How many understand what I'm talking about? How many getting it? Click yes if you are. Please click yes. No, just kidding. I mean yes. I mean no. Well, anyway, comments, whatever, you can jump on. Otherwise, we're going to call it good. Get registered. You know, they've got all the links on our Facebook. You can email. If you don't have any of this information in front of you, or not finding it easily, at email CTO, like Chief Technology Officer, CTO at masterysystems.com. And I mean, it's wild. And I'm seeing messages now. Yes, cool. All right. Anyway, CTO at masterysystems.com to get the link to sign up and start shopping. And again, find magazines. I mean, I would go out and buy like $200 worth of magazines because there's such benefit. And I go through the electronics, and I go through the vehicle, and I go through the camping, and I go through the truck section. I go through the, anyway, I just, I know that if I put a picture in front of me, and again, not the distinction, what I choose to get, because that means they don't have it yet, even though it's going to help me. What I put my attention upon is what's going to happen. It's going to be, and think about this, you're going to already be grateful for what you're putting up there. And again, this one woman, everything on her treasure map, which was, like the biggest dream she could come up with, including having her beloved, happened in a week. So remember, once you get good at this, once a week with your team, once a month with your team, once a week with your family is really, really, really helpful. And I'm reading this. Kim is going, I just came across magazine cutouts I did last year. I'm getting them out of the pile, LOL. That's awesome. And remember to make sure they're not toward, they're from, meaning you don't already have to have them. Your job is to be celebrating, thank you, I got this. So, all right, any other comments? There was a lot of comments so far. Anyone else? Just click in. Other than that, this has been recorded. We'll share it with those that were signed up for tonight, which I believe was 51. And I look forward to being with you. Remember, you've got two things that are, once you register, that are sent to you in links. One is an entire class given before on Victor Goals Achievement for that year, whatever it was, and my team picked it out. And then there's an entire video series, new and current, on outcome mapping, and that's all included in the tuition. So, all right, everyone, I bless you. I vote your victory. And again, just get off the phone right now and go, I got my miracles. My family got their miracles. Our nation got our miracles. Our Australia got our miracles. Just keep going. Stay with it. And don't just stop there. What's it like now that we got our miracles? What's it like now that I am thriving? How do I feel now that my family got, so many miracles? I wasn't even ready to ask for them. We got those miracles. That's where, I will pour you out a blessing greater than you can contain. That means our consciousness won't be able to hold it because it's going to be greater than that, pressed down and overflowing. That's what is available for us. Let's let that happen. And I recommend, you stay with, I got my miracle. I am my miracle. Beautiful. All right, all. Love you. Talk to you soon.